questions which often come up is around the timeline with grief. And I just actually noticed Sophie mentioned on the chat when would be a good time to actually see a therapist. I saw one very early after my son died, but would be better to do it after a year. But also just with that question, other people have mentioned, why am I suddenly feeling grief so much worse 3 years later? Can you give some guidance on, is there like a normal timeline for grief, and how does it work?
So I think time is such an interesting aspect of grief that I think people are very ignorant about. And so first of all, when someone who's really significant in your life, and certainly if a child dies, which sort of tears up the rule book of life, like your future looks catastrophically different, our relationship with time is kind of irreversibly altered in that you look back with longing to the time that the person, that your child was alive, or whoever the family member was. And you look to the future, the future looks quite daunting. But I think what's much more helpful than thinking about time in a linear way, chronos time from the Greek word, is kairos time. And kairos time is felt time. And so that there isn't a right or a wrong way or sort of time that's fixed, that's normal, but our own kind of process of time. And I think one of the ways that you can understand it for yourself is, this is a very rough rule of thumb, but the greater the significance of the person, in some ways, the greater the shock, if it was a very traumatic death. And if you kind of feel overwhelmed by it at the beginning, it may take you 2 or 3 years to feel safe enough in your body, to feel safe enough in your home, to dare to feel your grief. So you may have instinctively, automatically shut down. And so when it comes 3 years later, that is normal for you. Defenses are there for a good reason. I'm not about knocking down all your defenses and your protective mechanisms. My kind of belief is that you can support yourselves to have them, but also to have opportunities that feel safe enough to express and heal, express your pain and heal.